Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we really get into the source material you send us, looking for those surprising facts, those aha moments. It's what makes being well-informed genuinely exciting, right?
Hmm.
Today we're tackling a topic that, while for many of us, it might be a bit clouded by misconceptions, but our sources, they reveal it as this really profound path to inner transformation. Have you ever felt like you're mostly just thinking about life? Analyzing it, standing back from it, but maybe not truly living it, not directly experiencing it. Or maybe you feel like you're constantly fighting parts of yourself, those bits you wish were different, that you try to suppress. Well, our mission today is to explore a really different approach to finding freedom and self-discovery. It's called Tantra. And let's be clear right up front, we're not talking about the sensationalized version you might see floating around. Not at all. Our sources point to this ancient wisdom, a direct way, non-philosophical, to really experience your deepest reality without getting lost in, endless mental loops.
It's exactly. Our deep dive today is drawing mostly from the Vijñāna Bhairava Tantra. It's a, incredibly rich text. And just for context, it's not really a philosophical book like we might think of in the West. It's actually a collection of 112 meditation techniques. They're presented as this dialogue between Shiva, often seen as like pure consciousness, and his consort Devi, the goddess of divine energy. In this text, it just offers a treasury of perspectives that really challenge how we normally think about spiritual growth and even existence itself.
So it's less about abstract concepts and much more about direct, almost gut-level experience. A shortcut, maybe, not just to knowing about something, but to actually knowing yourself. Okay, let's dive in.
All right, so where do we start? Well, the sources immediately challenge our go-to method for solving problems, which is usually intellectual, right? We try to think our way through everything, analyze it, debate it, figure it out in our heads. But Tantra kind of asks us to step back from that first. Yeah, and what's really striking is how Shiva responds when Devi asks these huge questions. Like, what is your reality, my lord? He doesn't give her a philosophy lecture. No big explanations, no dogma to wrestle with mentally. Instead, he gives her a technique.
Yeah.
Every time. It's not about understanding who am I with your brain. It's more like do this and then you'll know. That's really the heart of existential understanding in Tantra. You don't just think about the problem. You have to live through it. Immerse yourself in an experience and just let that change you from the inside.
That's a huge distinction. It implies you have to be active, maybe even a bit brave to engage with it. The text actually says, to know love, one will have to be in love. That is dangerous because you will not remain the same. The experience is going to change you.
Right.
It promises you won't even recognize your old self, like a fundamental break happens.
Just discontinuity. Yeah.
The old way of being just dies off and something new takes its place. That's a pretty dramatic outcome for just a technique. It suggests a real rebirth, not just, tweaking your personality a bit.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, this focus on lived experience really shows how Tantra stands apart from a lot of other paths. It's fundamentally affirmative. It says yes to life. Whereas, many spiritual traditions, maybe even some types of yoga, they kind of work from duality. They often teach negating or suppressing parts of yourself, like controlling desires, conquering anger, trying to rise above the body. The word yoga itself can imply joining two separate things, right? Individual and divine. Suggests you start out separate.
So this affirmative approach, what does that actually mean for us, especially if we're used to thinking of self-improvement as, a struggle? Our sources say Tantra tells you, accept whatsoever you are a great mystery of many multidimensional energies. It's about moving with every energy, love, anger, desire, whatever it is, with this deep awareness and sensitivity, understanding it so that every desire becomes a vehicle to go beyond it. Then every energy becomes a help. And then this very world is nirvana. This very body is a temple. Wow, that's embracing everything, not running away.
It really is. And it brings up a key point, doesn't it? If you're constantly fighting yourself, your anger, your desires, the sources say those who fight, they are creating their own defeats.
Yeah.
Because that energy you push down, it doesn't just vanish. It goes underground. It might fester or pop up somewhere else in a distorted way. So acceptance here isn't about just giving in or indulging in the usual sense. It's deeper. It's this profound understanding, this non-resistance to what's actually there in you, recognizing the facticity of it, as you said. That's the starting point for any real transformation.
Yeah.
It's about healing that inner split, not making yourself into two warring parts, good versus bad.
That idea of facticity really resonates. Just seeing what is without the judgment layered on top. So it's not just labeling I'm angry, but really feeling the anger as a raw fact without trying to fix it or justify it in that moment, almost like just holding a mirror up.
Exactly. It's direct observation,
Mm.
without the mind jumping in to interpret and filter everything.
Okay, so if we shift from thinking to experiencing and embrace ourselves totally, what are the practical tools? How do we actually do this? And this leads us to the core, doesn't it? The incredible variety of methods in Tantra. The beauty, as the sources show, is Shiva offering this amazing toolkit, 112 methods for transformation. It's not a single dogma, not one size fits all. It's like this huge personalized spiritual menu, something for everyone, recognizing we're all unique.
Absolutely. And the text really encourages you to engage actively. It says, just play with them. Like a kid with new toys, explore. The key insight is that the right method, whenever you happen upon it, just clicks. It resonates. Something explodes in you, and you know that this is the right method for me. It's a very personal, felt sense, an experiential knowing, not something you figure out intellectually. And if you find one that resonates, it suggests sticking with it for a bit, maybe 3 days, then if it still feels right, 3 months, really explore its depth. And the sheer range is mind-boggling. Some are about subtle sensations, others use sound, light, emotions, even really ordinary physical actions.
But what if you try, you play with them, and nothing clicks? What then? The sources are surprisingly direct about this. They say if nothing clicks and nothing gives you the feeling that this is for you, then there is no method left for you. Then forget spirituality and be happy.
Right.
Which sounds harsh maybe, but it's actually quite liberating. It's not presented as failure, it's just an honest acceptance.
Exactly. It takes the pressure off. If there's no genuine connection, don't force it.
Yeah.
That in itself is a kind of acceptance.
Okay, this is where it gets really practical and quite fascinating. Let's look at some specific techniques. One of the most fundamental ones involves breath, but it's got a specific tantric twist. It's not mainly about controlling your breath for health benefits like some yoga practices focus on. It's more about using the natural breath as a doorway.
A direct tool, yeah, to turn inward and access deeper states of awareness. The core idea here is becoming really aware of what the text calls the gap between the two. That tiny, almost imperceptible pause that happens naturally. After you breathe in, before you breathe out, and then again after you breathe out, before you breathe in.
That little stillness.
That exact moment of stillness. It's in this universal pause, this brief empty space, the text says, that one small self vanishes. Our sources even compare it to Buddha's breath awareness method. They suggest that while Buddha didn't explicitly point to the gap, just focusing intensely on the breath naturally leads you there anyway, because your awareness will become keen and deep and intense. You start noticing subtler things. And this gap, it's not something you create. It's already there. You just need to notice it.
And when don't we usually notice it? The text blames our monkey mind, right?
Yeah. Constantly jumping around, never settling.
Which makes sense. That's where practices like Zazen, just sitting, watching thoughts without grabbing onto them, come in. They aim to quiet the chatter enough so you can perceive that tiny, profound space.
Precisely. You need a certain inner quiet to notice something so subtle.
Okay, another really intriguing one focuses on the center of forehead. Our sources link this to activating the pineal gland, what many traditions call the third eye, or Shiva Netra, the eye of Shiva. The idea isn't that it's blind, just dormant or closed for most of us, and directing energy and attention there can supposedly open up new ways of perceiving.
And when the third eye starts functioning, the text describes this really profound shift. It says, dreams will become real, and the whole reality will become just a dream. Yeah, it's a total reorientation of consciousness, not just a philosophical idea. The subtle world becomes more tangible, maybe, and ordinary reality feels more fluid, more dreamlike. The text even describes visualizing a shower of light falling down from the top of your head, like a cleansing, leading to this new birth of inner vision, perceiving subtle energies, maybe even auras.
So these techniques, whether it's the breath gap or the third eye, they all point towards heightening awareness, getting really present. But how do you carry that into everyday life, beyond just sitting and meditating? Our sources move into that too, showing how to weave this sensitivity right into the fabric of your day, turning mundane stuff into awareness practice.
Exactly. Take a technique like, when in worldly activity, keep attentive between the two breaths. It's about maintaining that subtle awareness of the breath's pause continuously. Not just when you're sitting quietly, but while you're, walking, talking, working. And the other examples are so varied, like stare without moving an eyelash.
That sounds intense.
It is. It's a practice associated with mystics like Meher Baba. That unwavering gaze, it helps fix your awareness in the third eye. It stops energy scattering through constant eye movement.
So even just staring if done with total focus, becomes a meditation.
Ah.
Okay. What about suck something and become the sucking? That one's very visceral.
Yes, that's a great illustration of becoming the process instead of being the doer. The text says, yes, suck something and become the sucking. But it applies to anything running, eating, even feeling pain. The instruction is to merge with it, become one with the activity or the sensation itself.
Not thinking about it.
No, feeling it so totally that the sense of a separate you doing the sucking or running or eating,
Yeah.
it just dissolves. You are the sucking, the running, the pain. And that detachment from being the doer or the body lets energy flow inward. It reveals something deeper about your nature.
Total immersion. Okay. And there's even one for emotions. Like, when a mood against someone or for someone arises, do not place it on the person in question, but remain centered.
That flips things completely, doesn't it? Instead of
Yeah.
blaming them or projecting onto them.
Exactly. It pulls the focus back to you. It's about recognizing you are the source of the mood, the feeling. It's arising in your consciousness. The other person is just a trigger, maybe.
Not the fundamental cause.
Right. There's that famous story about the Zen master, Linchi. Someone insults him, but instead of reacting, he just observes. He sees the other person like an empty boat bumping into his own boat. If there's no person inside his boat to receive the insult, where does the insult actually land?
It just bounces on.
Or passes through? It transforms a potential fight into this moment of realizing, hey, maybe my boat is empty too. I'm not this fixed self that can be insulted. I'm the awareness watching it all. Wow, okay. This whole deep dive, it's really challenging how we think about the mind itself. And the sources present this really radical idea, almost startling. The mind isn't just something that can get sick. The mind, in a way, is the sickness.
Yeah, that's a common thread in many Eastern traditions and definitely in Tantra. The goal isn't just readjustment. It's not therapy aiming for normality, like in some Western psychology. The ultimate goal is to transcend the mind altogether, to go beyond it. It's pictured as this rope stretched between two realities, body and soul. And living on that rope means constantly being in this state of, well, tightrope walking.
Tense.
Full of anxiety, tension, unease,
Yeah.
real bliss, true health, freedom. They're found beyond the mind, not by trying to perfect its workings or live within its limits.
That tightrope image is powerful, and it connects to this idea of the robot mind, doesn't it? We think we're in control, making choices, but so much of our life is just automatic pilot, these deeply ingrained patterns and reactions. You might decide, okay, I'm not going to get angry next time. But that's just a mental decision. And often it gets completely overridden because, as the text says, the robot is trained. It's like we're living asleep, letting these conditioned responses run the show. You know, think about grabbing your phone without thinking or driving somewhere familiar and suddenly realizing you don't remember the last few minutes.
Perfect examples.
Yeah.
The robot was driving then, for sure.
So how do we get out of that?
Well, the path isn't fighting the robot, not suppression. That just creates more tension. Instead, it's about consciously, deliberately taking the wheel back, even when there's no crisis, no external need. The text suggests suddenly, without any necessity, tell the robot to relax. You come into the seat and drive the car.
Just decide to be aware.
Yeah. Intentionally bring conscious awareness to things you normally do automatically, like walking. Feel your feet on the ground. Or listening. Really hear the sounds around you without labeling. Or even just the act of relaxing. Feel the tension leaving your body. It's about breaking the robot's grip by waking up inside your own actions, your own inner workings.
Okay, so if the mind is the disease and we're often run by this robot, how do we actually deal with these deep patterns? The sources are really clear. Fighting them, suppressing them, that just creates more inner conflict. Hypocrisy even, exhaustion.
Right. If you push something down hard enough, it'll just pop up somewhere else, maybe in a weirder form.
So what's the alternative?
Tantra's answer is radical. Absolute acceptance. Accept greed as it is. If violence is there, accept that fact within you. This facticity, really knowing what is present in you without any judgment, without explaining it away, without trying to change it, in that instant, that's the only ground from which real transformation can happen.
Because you're starting with reality.
Exactly. And when you accept something fully, without resistance, with awareness, the text says, knowingly you cannot be greedy. Knowingly you cannot be angry. They just become impossible. Not because you suppress them, but because deep conscious awareness dissolves the unconsciousness needed for them to run wild.
Awareness itself changes the game.
It's the transformative agent. Unawareness, that inner sleepwalking, is basically required for those automatic, often destructive patterns to keep going.
So it's a total shift. Away from denial or pretending, towards this deep self-honesty, and that moves you from the noisy edges of your mind.
Right to your authentic center. As the
Yeah.
text puts it, if you accept yourself totally, suddenly you are thrown to your center, and from that core place of acceptance, you can't really move away from your true nature.
Wow. This deep dive into Tantra, it's really opened up a different world, where understanding isn't just mental. It's not about collecting facts. It's this profound, lived thing. It seems to be about finding freedom, not by trying to change the world outside or constantly battling forces inside, but by deeply accepting and understanding ourselves.
Yeah.
Moving from that chaotic edge.
To the stillness and clarity at the center.
Yeah.
And that core idea that the 112 methods are just different tools, different doorways to uncover what's already there inside you.
Yeah.
That you are the treasure already. You're already whole, already enlightened in essence. You just need to wake up to that fact. That's just incredibly liberating, isn't it?
It really is. It flips the script on the spiritual journey. It's not about becoming something new or acquiring something you lack.
It's discovery, remembering who you actually are underneath it all.
So remember, this kind of deep dive, it's a really personal journey. It takes courage and honesty with yourself. Like our sources put it so beautifully. Whatsoever comes, whatsoever happens through awareness is beautiful, and whatsoever happens without awareness is ugly. It's really a call to bring that conscious, accepting attention to every moment, every energy, every feeling, every sensation. Just watch. So here's a final thought to chew on, something provocative maybe. If the mind really is the disease, in a way, and stillness is the cure, what's just one robot tendency in your own life, one automatic action or reaction that usually just runs itself without you really noticing? Could you, just for a moment today, bring conscious awareness to it, not to judge it, not to change it, just observe it? How might simply seeing it clearly be the very first step towards a kind of liberation you maybe didn't expect? We really encourage you to explore these ideas more, play with awareness in your own life, and maybe, just maybe, discover the truth that's waiting just beyond the usual boundaries of your mind.